Welcome back to the Real Life Foster Carers channel. It's Thursday again already. I hope you all survived half term. We did, we ended up with a trip in A&E. Oh my goodness, I'm not looking forward to the summer holidays, let me tell you. So today I am going to be doing a video. I've skipped a few stages really, so we've gone through sort of why we decided to foster, then what we did about it, who we contacted, what you need to become a foster carer. I will be doing a video all about your Form F, so that is the application process basically that you have to go through to become a foster carer, and I'll be doing a video about your skills to foster and things like that for those of you who are going through the process or thinking about it or just want a little bit more of an insight into what it actually takes. But for today I'm just going to be telling you all about once we were finally qualified, we were ready to go, then what it got like, once it got real, really real. So we'd been through all of that. We were really lucky. Our process didn't take that long. Like I say, I inquired on my birthday, so February, and we were approved at panel by the 5th of July. So some people, this process takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 months. We were super lucky with that. So again, panel, that is where you go to actually get approved. I'll be doing videos all about that and what that was like, because that was nerve-wracking in itself. So yeah, we were finally qualified. I was still working, and I went to work the day after panel, and I was like, right, okay, we're just waiting now. And you're just told, you know, we'll call you when there's a child that needs you. So it was so nerve-wracking. I had my phone out on my desk, which we wasn't allowed, but I spoke to our manager and I said, like, look, I'm waiting for a really important phone call. Had my phone out on my desk, and I actually worked opposite Nico, so our desks were opposite each other. We were on the same team, the same company, and we just kept staring over at each other all day long, waiting for this phone to ring. Every time it buzzed, my heart just went into my mouth. And we had lots of phone calls. So basically, the local authority will ring our agency and say, we've got these children and they need X, Y, and Z. Have you got anybody suitable? Then our agency will look up on their board and see, right, Connie and Nico have got 2 spare beds available. Let's see if they've got what it takes. Now, they were really concerned about whether or not we would actually get placements, because we don't have our own children. We don't have an abundance of childcare experience. So they did think it would take quite a while for us to get a placement. But the calls were coming in. And at that stage, that can be, you know, the parents are in court, we're trying to get the order to take these children, and then the judge could rule that these children are okay to actually stay at home. So you could be waiting by the door and then it all falls through. So you get lots of different circumstances. So literally, I remember my first phone call, it was about a little boy, and you don't get an awful lot of information about these children. Some children that have been in the care system and known to social services and have profiles on profiles, you get stacks of information about them. Other children could have just been taken from their parents. They're anywhere, like nans and granddads, aunts, uncles, any situation that they're in can have just been picked up by the police, taken to the police station, social services are involved, they need a home for this child. They know nothing. And it puts you in a really difficult situation, because you're taught by other carers and people that have been doing it to ask these questions and to find these things out, but sometimes they just don't have that to tell you, and you've just got to take it on goodwill. So a couple of the referrals that we got, we had lots and lots of information on some of them. They'd been known to social services for most of their lives. We knew where they lived, their behaviours, what they liked, what they didn't like. And I remember one child that we were really up for having, and we were really happy to take him in, and he was slightly older. But we were really stumped that he loved motorbikes, and he was always out on them, And we were like, we don't have a clue. And they were like, he loves engines, anything to do with cars, loves taking them apart, putting them back together. And we were just like, we're not really going to be able to have anything in common with him in that respect. Like, Nico doesn't even drive. He knows nothing about cars whatsoever. He could just about tell you the colour of a car and that is it, and a make, no model. And yeah, we were like focusing on this, like, we're not going to be able to like get involved with him. And at that time, we were so naive, we didn't realise that we were lucky to even know that amount of information, because then when the next came in, you don't even get their names, you get an initial. So for data protection, you just get an initial. So even the children I've got now, I didn't know their names until I knew what time they were arriving, and it just sprung to me and I was like, what are their names? And then I actually got told when everything had already gone through and it was a guarantee that they were coming to me. So literally, you know nothing at times. And you can ask questions, like I say, and I've now got a list of questions that I would ask in the future going forward. But there also might be a time where I just get a phone call and I just take a child and we've just got to work it out from there. So we got the phone call, we got numerous phone calls. This happened over a couple of days and I didn't sleep for this week. I really did not sleep. So we passed panel on the 5th of July and we had children by the 18th. So we didn't wait long at all. So it got finalised. Yeah, we'll take them. So they were like, okay, brilliant. Connie and Nico are willing to take these children. The local authority were willing to give us these children. We were now just waiting for the judge to agree that the children could be removed. That felt like the longest, I think it was only a couple of hours, but it felt like the longest few hours of my life. And I was at work and kept checking my phone. I think I rung them a couple of times. I was like, I hope you haven't forgotten about me, because I didn't know the process, I didn't know the way it worked. And then we finally got the call, yeah, they'll be with you tomorrow at about 1 o'clock. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, Nico, we've like, this is it, our lives are changing. And I went over to my manager and I was like, the kids are getting dropped off tomorrow. Like, say goodbye to everybody. I didn't have a leave and do at work, nothing. It literally, I was like, I need to go to IKEA and buy a bed. Like, we were having two. We was only expecting to have one and then we were getting two. And so I can remember just getting in the car, my heart on my heart, and I was like, what do they look like? Oh my God, what are we going to need? What are they going to, And we just sat there and I was like, Nico, this is it. This is really, really it. Everything we've worked for. We've had people in and out of our homes. We've divulged information that we would never have told other people just to get to this stage. And this was it. And I just burst into tears. And I think it was just an accumulation of excitement, the unknown, and just everything at once. It was the release. It was the, oh my God, we're finally doing this. And yeah, we went home. I rang my best friend and I told her what I knew, which wasn't very much. Rang my parents, and my mum was like, oh my goodness, like, you're crazy too, you're taking two children. And I was like, don't want to hear it, don't scare me, please. And they were so supportive, and they sent some money over. So we got told what type of beds that they needed, so whether or not they needed to be in a cot, a toddler bed, single bed. So we made a dart for IKEA, and my best friend and my parents both sent some money over to get them something. So we got them like a table and chairs, like a little mini one, and loads of sort of stuff to make them feel welcome, and teddies and things. And we got it all ready and we did their room up. And then we were just sat there and I just kept walking into their bedroom. And it was crazy because we lived in this little 2-bedroom apartment that had just been ours, always been ours. And now there was going to be 2 new people. I just could not wrap my head around it. And you've got an idea in your head of what type of children they're going to be, what they're going to look like. And like I say, I had very, very little information about them because they were so little as well. So there wasn't that much to tell. And so we got told that they'd be here around 1 p.m. and I've got a picture of Nico and the cat like at the balcony door looking and waiting. And they were late because it's always a process. Like they had to come all the way from quite far to us, and the doorbell went, and I jumped and I saw the car and I could see them both in the back of the car, and one of them was just screaming his head off, screaming, crying, screaming, and the other little one was just, he'd just woken up. They both had just woken up, but the other one was just like taking in all his surroundings. And it was the old cliche, like they'd been to McDonald's, and that's like a thing, like social workers always take children to McDonald's to break the news. It had happened to these poor little things, and we went outside to greet them, and it was just so surreal, so surreal. And they brought them into the apartment and we showed them around, and obviously it's all new to them. They don't know what's going on, where they are, they're tiny babies, like they literally didn't have a clue. And the littlest just didn't stop screaming, and he just let me hold him, and I wasn't allowed to sit down, like he just wanted me up and around, and just losing it. And when I had him in my arms for the first time, I think that's when it really sunk in that this is up to me now. This is up to me. And I can only think that's what it's like when you have your own baby and you're giving it, and the nurses are gone and the doctors are gone and everybody's gone, and you've got this little baby to deal with. And the social workers didn't hang around for long at all, because obviously they want the transition to be smooth, and they don't want lots of people there, and that there was a lot of people in the house at the time. And they left. They brought their belongings in and they left, and it was just me, Nico, and these two little boys. And I was like, what do we do now? What do we do now? Like, what's your name? Which one's which? Like, and that was it. And the rest was kind of up to us. And when I look back at it now, I can't believe we got through it, really, in all honesty. And we calmed them down, and they were like running to the cupboards and getting we showed them where the treat cupboard was, and they were getting loads of sweets and treats and stuff. And we just needed to get them. It was summer, and it was hotter than we'd expected it to be. And obviously we didn't buy them any clothes. Some people will buy things just as they see it, like cheap on sale and stuff, and have maybe a wardrobe of girl stuff, boy stuff. We didn't buy a thing. I didn't buy a single thing. So we took them in the car, went and bought them some clothes and stuff. And we was just walking around Asda, and I was like, we've got two children. Like, I had this child in a trolley and the other one, and we couldn't understand a word they were saying. Like, obviously, babble, they were only 1 and 2 at the time, and I wasn't used to their babble. When it's your own child, you get used to those babbles and those noises. I didn't have a clue what they were saying. So it was just about really learning what these guys needed, and I was the only one, me and Nico, that could provide them with that. And it was scary. It was really, really scary. And I don't think we slept for like 3 weeks, I'd say. And the first night, the little one settled really, really well. And but their eldest one he just screamed and he passed out on the sofa, which is expected. He was pining, he was confused. But that was the only time we really had unsettled sleep, was just that initial night where he was just like, what? I thought this was going to end. I thought I was going to go home. Like, I thought I was just at somebody else's house. And that was tough to see. And that's when I think we questioned what we was doing, and how hard it was going to be to watch the pain in these children's eyes. And I think it's harder because they're littler, so you can't rationale with them. You can't give any explanation. But yeah, looking back, like I say now, it's an absolute wonder that we got through it, and it's brilliant to think that we did. And yeah, for about a good 3 weeks, we didn't have a proper sleep. We still go times now where we don't get proper sleep from them because you're worried about them, or their anxieties build up and turn into something else. But that initial first 3 weeks, I can remember one time, because we were just worried about them all the time and meeting their needs and finding out what they needed. How much milk? What food do they eat? Like, we just didn't know what size nappies do they wear? What size shoe are they? Like, Asda doesn't have a shoe measurer. I didn't have a clue what I was supposed to do with them. So you're just learning 3 weeks of vroom, 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 everything is just learning and trying to pick up little bits of information. And I can remember I walked into the kitchen one day and Nico was like crouched down by the kitchen cabinet and he was like putting dry bread into his mouth. And I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm not eating for like 3 days. And he'd taken some time off work. He got a week off of work, like fostering leave. And yeah, I was just like, oh my goodness, what are we doing? But they were having the whale of a time. They were loving it, getting fed and all these new things. But we just completely let ourselves slip by. And we were really lucky that we had Bernie at that point to make sure that we were right. And she'd bring food for us, like microwave food and stuff. And she came and helped me do my washing and cleaning and things, because it was just all about them and focusing on them and making sure that they were okay, and that we got a real good foundation in there to ensure that this placement continued and was successful and thrived and didn't break down, and that we didn't break down. I had my moments. I can remember once we was laying in bed and I had my phone. We just had our phones out, laying in bed with our phones, and Nico had put his phone down. We were just chatting, and then he'd got up, moved the covers, and his phone flew and hit my knuckle. Oh my goodness, I burst into tears. I was like, oh, you've broken my hand, oh, I need an ambulance. I was like sobbing. And at that point, I think that was like 3 weeks of sleep deprivation, food deprivation, like struggling with these 2 little minions that I now had to do everything for. And that was my point where I let it all out. And we had a laugh, we had a cry, and we started again. And we've never, ever looked back. And it was just absolutely amazing. So yeah, and then now here we are, 10 months on. It's like absolute second nature to us. Yeah, it's been really funny for me to sit and reflect back on that part, because we were such novices, we were so scared, and we had all these meetings. Like when children first come to you, within the first month, there's some professional in your house every single day doing something. You've got big meetings, and you need to take them to doctors and hospitals and eye tests, and everything has to be tick within that first month. So you've got that on top of, there's just these 2 strange children in my house. Like, it was so surreal, so surreal. And I don't think anything will ever compare to our first placement, ever. And why would it? But that's not to say that I wouldn't do it again and again and again and again. So yeah, if you've got any questions about what that was like, I'm going to be doing more of these sort of videos, just little snippets of what particular parts of our journey have been like, as well as the informative ones for the guys that are going through the process. I'm also going to do like a day in the life of a foster carer. I'm waiting to find a week where I've got like some really good training, some really good meetings, so you can proper see what it is that I get up to, and not just sort of the weeks where I do get a lot of downtime, because a lot of it is just normal life. It's just real life. They go off to nursery, I toddle off to do what I need to, go shopping, tidy the house. A lot of it is just like being a stay-at-home mum. So I'm looking forward to finding a week where my diary is really packed. I can take you along with me to all of that, so you can get a good insight into a proper week in the life of a foster carer. But anyway, thanks guys. See you later.